Haribol, namaste everyone. Good evening. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Snapistaya Bhutale Srimad Swarupananda Paramahamsa Itinamute Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasudeva Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Haribo, Nitaibo, Nitaibo, Haribo, Haribo, Nitaibo, Nitaibo, Haribo, Nitaibo, Nitaibo, Haribo, Haribo, Nitaibo, Nitaibo, Haribo, Nitaibo, Nitaibo, Haribo, Haribo, Nitaibo, Nitaibo, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Nitai Gaur, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Nitai Gaur,
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Nitai, Jaya Jaya Srila Jaya Jaya Nitai, Gurudev Jaya 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 Gurudev.
Jaya Gurudev, Haribol Namaste.
Namaste, Haribol.
Namaste. Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac, Cleo, and Krishna Dasi for the wonderful entry kirtan.
You're welcome, sir.
Haribol, before anything, let us all pray muna. Namaom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Sirasrupananda Paramahamsa iti namin. Bhaja Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Haribol. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Isaac and family. So we are now going to continue our Srimad Bhagavatam class, reading and discussion. Okay. Perhaps it is Mr. Praveen who's the first reader. Go ahead.
Haribo.
Haribo. Haribo.
X7. Thus, the forward steps of the Lord are the shelter for the upper, lower, and heavenly planets, as well as for all that we need. His lotus feet serve as protection from all kinds of fear. For absolute protection from all sorts of fear, as well as for all our needs of life, we must take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, not only in this planet, but also in all the upper, lower, and heavenly planets. This absolute dependence on the lotus feet of the Lord is called pure devotional service, and it is directly hinted at within this passage. No one should have any kind of doubt in this matter, nor should one be inclined to seek the help of any other demigods, because all of them are dependent on him alone, him only. Everyone except the Lord himself is dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Even the all-pervading Supersoul is also dependent on the supreme aspect of the Bhagwan, the personality of Godhead. Shall I continue with text 8 or shall I stop?
Let's discuss this first, Mr. Praveen. Yeah. So here it is described that continuation of our discussion since the 3 or 4 3 or 4 classes ago, we were discussing about the different limbs of Krishna. Okay, and his different limbs represent different blessings, no? For the benefit of the living beings. In other words, even if we are here in the material world, the whole of the material world is also a body of Krishna. Okay, if only we can see that, if only we have the eyes to see. But because we don't have the eyes to see, we only see material energy. Yeah. And therefore we fail to see the beauty of Krishna's body. And because Krishna is very, very kind to us, he doesn't. He wants us all to have a association with him, no? Even here in the material world. So here in this particular verse, it is described of how the lotus feet of Krishna is very, very important and very, very sacred, because it is where we find peace, joy, happiness, forgiveness. Yeah, and it's also where we take shelter of Krishna by resting our hearts at the lotus feet of Krishna. Yeah, so that is his lotus feet. So in his Virat Rupa form, the universal form of Krishna, his body there is complete, no, from head to toe. So the best way to take shelter from, it is described here, is his feet, his lotus feet. Okay, so let's continue our reading.
Dear
Go
Prabhu,
ahead, Mr. Pravin. Yeah, you just continue reading.
Text 8. From the Lord's genitals originate water, semen, generatives, rains, and the procreators. The genitals are the cause of a pleasure that counteracts the distress of begetting. The genitals and the pleasure of begetting counteract the distress of family encumbrances. One would cease to generate altogether if there were not, by the grace of the Lord, a coating, a pleasure-giving substance on the surface of the generative organs. This substance gives a pleasure so intense that it counteracts fully the distress of family encumbrances. A person is so captivated by this pleasure-giving substance that he is not satisfied by begetting a single child, but increases the number of children with great risk in regard to maintaining them, simply for this pleasure-giving substance. This pleasure-giving substance is not false, however, because it originates from the transcendental body of the Lord. In other words, the pleasure-giving substance is a reality, but it has taken on an aspect of pervertedness on account of material contamination. In the material world, sex life is the cause of many distresses on account of material contact. Therefore, the sex life in the material world should not be encouraged beyond the necessity. There is a necessity for generating progeny even in the material world, but such generation of children must be carried out with full responsibility for spiritual values. The spiritual values of life can be realized in the human form of material existence, and the human being must adopt family planning with reference to the context of spiritual values and not otherwise. The degraded form of family restriction by use of contraceptives, etc., is the grossest type of material contamination. Materialists who use these devices want to fully utilize the pleasure of potency of the coating on the genitals by artificial means without knowing the spiritual importance. And without knowledge of spiritual values, the less intelligent man tries to utilize only the material sense pleasure of the genitals. Haribol.
Haribol, thank you very much, Mr. Pravin. Very important verse here. No, we can see how the genitals, even the genitals of Krishna, the Virat Rupa form of Krishna, has very, very big significance now in our daily lives, because that is where the sexual pleasure is derived from. And remember, because the material pleasures in this world is a perverted reflection of what it is in the spiritual world, uh, if you abuse it, if you don't use it properly in its spiritual practice, it actually becomes perverted. It becomes perverted. The reason why a person has different they bear many children, even if it is very, very difficult. I mean, even if the financial situation doesn't warrant it, you can find families, even if they live on top of a mountain of garbage, for as long as there is sex, they are able to endure. They are able to endure the suffering created by living on top of a mountain of garbage. So according to Srimad Bhagavatam, in this world, the highest pleasure is sexual pleasure. That is the highest pleasure. And this is the reason why many individuals or many people they get contaminated, really. They get so attracted with sexual pleasures that they are gravitated towards engaging in sexual pleasure, even if it is not in harmony with Sanatan Dharma. For example, sexual pleasure or sexual activity is actually meant for having Krishna conscious children, but unfortunately in the world today, many engage in sexual activities simply for sexual pleasure. And the grossest, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, is the use of artificial like they try to stop pregnancy. They just want pleasure, but they don't want to get pregnant. So that is the grossest according to Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, and Srimad Bhagavatam has always been the guide for humankind to attain spiritual success. In other words, like a couple who's married, as much as possible they engage in sexual activity for producing Krishna conscious children. That is the only reason. It should be the only reason why they do it. But unfortunately, in this age of Kali Yuga, it's actually very difficult to control the desire of the sexual organs. Very, very difficult, actually. So there's got to be a conscious effort for a devotee to always taste the nectar of devotional service, so that his senses will be diverted, will be redirected rather. It must be redirected towards devotional service. Otherwise, it will be directed or misdirected towards material pleasure, and sexual pleasure is the highest of them all. Do you know why? Do you know the reason why marriage fall apart? Marriage, for instance, two people get together for marriage, okay, and the reason for that is lust. Instead of loving their partners, they lust over another person's body, etc., like that. Yeah. And the reason for the breakup of marriage is also lust. It is also lust. The breakup of marriage usually is that the wife or the husband plays around, get another sexual partner, etc., thinking that it will satisfy them. But actually, it actually just adds suffering towards the person. Now, that is the standard. Srimad Bhagavatam is the standard, yeah. Especially here in Kali Yuga, the standard is what Krishna says, or what the pure devotees say in the Srimad Bhagavatam, yeah. And the easiest way to really redirect our senses is not trying to stop them. You don't need to stop them. But sir, it's very, very difficult. I always get attracted to the opposite sex, etc., like that, and my mind is always reeling of lust and material desires, sexual desires, like that. So how can I control it? It is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. You can control it by redirecting the senses. Redirecting. You don't need to stop the senses, but you redirect it. In other words, if you're a brahmachari or somebody who is single, okay, if you want to have children, if you want to engage in sexual activity, you get a wife or you get a husband, and that is not sinful. You do it for Krishna. In other words, produce children whom you can teach how they can develop their love for Krishna. And that marriage and that union becomes transcendental. As I've said, the easiest way is to be engaged in the loving service of Krishna by chanting the holy names. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama eva kevalam, Kalovanasteva Nasteva Gatir Anyata. Yeah? So that is, these mantras, the Maha mantras, are being chanted since time immemorial. Even Lord Brahma chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Yeah. Lord Shiva chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And all of the the demigods in the upper planetary systems, or in the heavenly planets, they chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because that is the medicine. That is the medicine for getting close and rekindling our relationship with Krishna again. Because right now we are separated, we are actually away from Krishna. If you don't engage in devotional service, you allow your body, your senses, your mind to dwell on material pleasures. But if you constantly engage your mind, your senses, your whole body in the service of Krishna, you're able to actually tame it. You're actually able to make it so that your mind becomes tamed. Sa Tagalog pa, ipaamo mo. Amuhin mo yung senses mo, plus the mind, by chanting the holy names, so that it will not unnecessarily get disturbed, because right now it is greatly disturbed. Okay, let's read furthermore. Rhea, who is our next reader?
Elinet po, sir.
Elinet, go ahead.
Haribol.
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 You read 2 verses. Sige.
Wait lang po. Krishna, hindi ko mag-gets. Haribol.
Haribol.
O Narada, the evacuating outlet of the universal form of the Lord is the abode of the controlling deity of death, Mitra, and the evacuating hole and the rectum of the Lord is the place of envy, misfortune, death, hell, etc. Text 10. The back of the Lord is the place for all kinds of frustration and ignorance, as well as for immorality. From his veins flow the great rivers and rivulets, and on his bones are stacked and great mountains. In order to defy the impersonal conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a systematic analysis of the psychological,
Physiological.
and anatomical constitution of his transcendental body is given here. It is clear from the available description of the body of the Lord, or his universal form, that the form of the Lord is distinct from the form of ordinary mundane conception. In any case, he is never a formless void. Ignorance is the back of the Lord, and therefore the ignorance of the less intelligent class of men is also not separate from his bodily conception. Since his body is the complete whole of everything that be, one cannot assert that he is impersonal only. On the contrary, the perfect description of the Lord holds that he is both impersonal and personal simultaneously. The personality of Godhead is the original feature of the Lord, and his impersonal emanation is but the reflection of his transcendental body. Those who are fortunate enough to have a view of the Lord from the front can realize his personal feature, whereas those who are prostrated and are thus kept on the ignorant side of the Lord, or, in other words, those who have the view of the Lord from the back, realize him in his impersonal feature. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. Thank you very much, Alinette. So, you know, the limbs of Krishna's body in this material existence, in this material world, the Virat Rupa form of God, his universal form, represents so many different aspects of our lives. You know, for example, the back of Krishna, the back of the Lord, Virat Rupa form of the Lord, is considered to be hellish, hellishan. The rectum of the Lord is considered to be ignorance, pain, suffering, you know, and all kinds of negativities. His back is considered to be worshipped by the impersonalists because they cannot see the beauty of Krishna. Blessed are those who are able to actually see Krishna frontal, because if you see Krishna frontal, that is the view of the Vaishnava devotees. They're able to actually experience the happiness just by looking at the face of Krishna, looking at the body of Krishna, looking at his eyes, his lotus eyes, his face, beautiful face, etc., like that. But if you're an impersonalist, it is described that you are not able to actually see the frontal view of Krishna's body, and therefore you conclude that Krishna is just impersonal, you know. That's why it is described, even Srila Prabhupada is describing the impersonalists as very, very unfortunate. They're actually very unfortunate because, you know, they are unable to actually see the beauty, the nectar of having a relationship with the personality of Krishna. So they are devoid of that opportunity, the impersonalists. Yeah. Let's continue our reading.
Sharni.
Sharni, go ahead.
Something. That's 11. Translation. The impersonal feature of the Lord is the abode of great oceans, and the resting place for the materially annihilated living entities is the belly of the Lord. His heart is the abode of the subtle material bodies of living beings, thus it known by the intelligent class of men. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, text 7, canto 8, text 17 to 18, or chapter 8, text 17 to 18, it is stated that According to human calculations, 1 day of Brahma is equal to 1,000 ages of 4 millenniums, or 4,300,000 years each, and the same period is calculated to be his night also. A Brahma lives for 100 such years and then dies. A Brahma who is generally a great devotee of the Lord attains liberation after such downfall. The universe, or called the Brahmanda, or the round football-like domain controlled by a Brahma, thus becomes annihilated, and thus the inhabitants of a particular planet or of the whole universe are also annihilated. Avyakta, mentioned here in this verse, means the night period of Brahma, when partial annihilation takes place, and the living entities of the particular Brahmanda, up to the planets of Brahmaloka, along with the big oceans, are all reposed in the belly of the Virata Purasa, or Purusa. At the end of the Brahma's night, the creation again takes place, and the living respective parts and the living entities reserved within the belly of the Lord are let loose to play their respective parts as if being awakened from a deep slumber. Since the living entities are never destroyed, the annihilation of the material world does not annihilate the existence of the living entities. But until liberation is attained, one has to accept one material body after another, again and again, repeatedly. The human life is meant for making a solution to his repeated change of bodies, and thereby attaining a place in the spiritual sky where everything is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. In other words, the subtle forms of the living entities take place in the heart of the Supreme Being, and such forms take tangible shape at the same time of creation. Haribol Namaste po. Thank you.
Nakamute po kayo, sir.
Thank you very much. So, it is described here how the entire material creation, no, and its time element is given in terms of information. For example, Lord Brahma lives for 100 years. But you see, one moment of Lord Brahma is millions of years, earth years. So we have millions of earth years. That is just one moment of Lord Brahma, and he lives for 100 years. To really get a complete information about that, we have the 4 yugas, isn't it? You have the Brahma, you have the Satya Yuga, you have the Treta Yuga, you have the Dwarapa Yuga, and then you have Kali Yuga. And each of these yugas or ages has their own time span. For example, Kali Yuga lasts for 432,000 years only. 432,000 years. And in Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated that we have consumed already 5,000 years of Kali Yuga. So therefore there is still a balance of 427,000 years before the end of Kali Yuga. Now, what about the Dwarpa Yuga? Dwarpa Yuga is 864,000 years. 864,000 years is Dwarpa Yuga. And Treta Yuga is about 1.6 million years. and Satya Yuga is 3.2 million years. So you can just imagine the amount of Earth years representing one day of Lord Brahma. One day of Lord Brahma is actually an equivalent of 1,000 cycles. 1,000 cycles. Yeah. From Satya Yuga till the Kali Yuga, and then there's destruction. There is what is known as partial destruction. We're living entities in this particular universe. They get inside the body of Lord Vishnu, and all of their material bodies get destroyed, because that is what is known as the partial destruction of the universe, of this particular universe. Each universe has their own time span of destruction. Yeah, and then there's the total causal destruction, and that is when Karanodakasai Vishnu or Mahavishnu inhales again, like that. But between inhalation and exhalation, there are so many different universes in the whole of the material cosmic manifestation happen. They have their own mini destruction. Okay, so from Satya Yuga till Kali Yuga, which is equivalent to about almost 3.8 million years. Okay, that is one day of Lord Brahma. No, not one day. That is just a split, a split time of Lord. Because 1,000 of that, because the same amount of duration is also counted during the night of Lord Brahma. So you multiply that by 2. That is how long a day of Lord Brahma lasts. Yeah, but like it's like 1,000 cycles. That's one day, and it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam that we are now in the middle of the creation. Imagine, Srimad Bhagavatam is giving us the information of how long this universe will last, and then how long will it last till the total destruction. That is just one inhalation of Lord Vishnu or Mahavishnu. So you can just imagine how small we are. Ang liit-liit po natin talaga, sa totoo lang. But Maya is so strong that, the conditioned souls think that they are Krishna, that they can, they have their controlling power, that they can control others, that that they are big shots like this. Parang nakakahiya kung tutusin mo. Because in reality, everything belongs to Krishna. Nothing belongs to us. Everything belongs to Krishna. And that at the end of the day, we can't take even a single cent. We can take nothing when we leave our bodies. We leave our bodies, we cannot take anything with our so-called wealth, so-called fame, so-called greatness, so-called mystic powers, etc. Yeah. So even if you have mystic powers, you are still under the jurisdiction of the three modes of material nature. Such is the suffering condition living in the material world. Imagine, we travel from one body to the other, going from one universe or one planet to the other, like that, one universe to the other, in the material world, yeah, for so many millenniums. And each of these lifetimes, we can hardly even find happiness here. We are always trying to chase happiness here in the world without knowing what real happiness is, without knowing where to find real happiness. Yeah? Napaka-unfortunate po nun, di ba? Napakaswerte lang talaga natin. We are very fortunate because we have our beloved spiritual master with us. And our beloved spiritual master he's a pure lover of Krishna. And he loves us so much that he doesn't want us to suffer. And his desire really is for his followers, is for his students and disciples to make this life your last lifetime. It is only made possible by the blessing and mercy of a bona fide spiritual master. Without a bona fide spiritual master, we are in limbo. We're always in a place where there is suffering. Yeah? Pain, anxiety. This is the condition of the living being in the material world, suffering all kinds of pain and anxiety. So really, it is not desirable to come back here in this world. Those people who say that, anyway, meron naman reincarnation, let me just be serious in my spiritual life, next life. Anyway, I'm coming back here. This is foolishness. Wanting to be reborn in the material world, or desiring to be reborn in the material world, is not desirable. This is actually an act of foolishness. Okay, let's read furthermore. One more reader.
Pero also,
Haribol, George.
also the consciousness of the great personality, the object of belief, yours and those of the four Bhattas, Naka, Anupama, Sanat Kumara, Anat Kumara. Consciousness is also in the word
Mm.
of the explanation.
Mm.
Beginning from me, Brahma, down to you, Baba, all the great sages who were born before you, Naga, human beings, the birds, as well as the reptiles, etc., and all phenomenal manifestations, namely the
Bakit
planets,
parang mahina? Sandali lang, George. You have a, like, parang gargle ng konti yung sound mo.
Medyo ano po, low yung volume.
Oo, parang ganon.
boss,
Yeah, can you go near your microphone and just stay there? Huwag mong layuin yung ulo mo.
Kapuso,
Yeah.
hi boss, okay
Haribo.
po.
Yeah, okay na. Mm.
Beginning from me, Brahma, down to you, Baba, Shiva, all the great sages who were born before you, the demigods, the demons, the nagas, the human beings, the birds, the beasts, as well as the reptiles, etc., and all phenomenal manifestations of the universes, namely the planets, stars, asteroids, luminaries, lightning, thunder, and the inhabitants of the different planetary systems, namely the Gandharvas, Apsaras, Yakshas, Raksas, Bhutaganas, Uragas, Pasus, Pitas, Siddhas, Vidyagaras, Karanas, and all other different varieties of living entities, including the birds, beasts, trees, and everything that be, are all covered by the universal form of the Lord at all times, namely past, present, and future, although he is transcendental to all of them, eternally existing in a form not exceeding 9 inches. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his partial representation, measuring not more than 9 inches as Supersoul, expands by his potential energy in the shape of the universal form, which includes everything manifested in different varieties of organic and inorganic materials. The manifested varieties of the universe are therefore not different from the Lord, just as golden ornaments of different shapes and forms are non different from the original stock reserve of gold. In other words, the Lord is the Supreme Person who controls everything within the creation, and still he remains the supreme separate identity, distinct from all manifested material creation. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 4 to 5, he is therefore said to be Yogeshwar. Everything rests in the potency of Lord Krishna, and still the Lord is different from the transcendental to all such identities. In the Vedic Purusha Sukta of the Rig mantra, this is also confirmed. This philosophical truth of simultaneous oneness and difference was propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is known as Achinta Veda Veda Tattva. Brahma, Narada, and all others are simultaneously one with the Lord and different from the Supreme Lord. We are all one with Him, just as the gold ornaments are one in quality with the stock of gold. But individual gold ornaments is never equal in quantity with the stock gold. The stock gold is never exhausted, even if there are innumerable ornaments emanating from the stock, because the stock is Purnam, complete. Even if Purnam is deducted from the Purnam, still the Supreme Purnam remains the same Purnam. This fact is inconceivable to our present imperfect senses. Lord Chaitanya therefore defined his theory of philosophy as achintya, inconceivable, and as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita as well as in the Bhagavatam. Lord Chaitanya's theory of Achinta Veda Veda Tattva is perfect philosophy of the absolute truth. Fireball, sir.
Haribol, thank you very much, George. Maraming salamat. So here in this particular verse, the prime message is about the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Before Lord Chaitanya, transcendentalists, they don't have any clue as to what simultaneously one and yet different or distinct is. Achintya Beda Beda Tattva means we are one with the Lord in quality, yeah, but different from the Lord in quantity. This was propounded by Lord Chaitanya some 500 years ago when he came down here in this world. In other words, parang never heard po ito in the previous ages. That's why, great transcendentalists and impersonalists during the time of Lord Chaitanya became devotees of Lord Chaitanya because of this philosophy of Achintya Beda Tattva. Simultaneously one and yet distinct. Very wonderful explanation as to who we are in terms of our relationship with God, the Supreme Absolute Truth. It is true that we are all one with God. It is true that we are one with God in quality, because God is made up of spiritual energy, and we, the living being, is also made of spiritual energy. That's why in quality we are one with Krishna. We are one with the Lord, but in quantity we are never one with the Lord. Srila Prabhupada has given great examples of this, of this oneness and yet different. And this is the reason why impersonalists, they are confused. That's why when they say oneness, they think we are one with Krishna, or we are one with the absolute truth, quality and quantity. They never are able to explain very, very clearly what this oneness means. That's why even in our religion class before, or even in the teachings of Christendom, okay, and if you read the Bible, if you hear priests and pastors talk about the oneness of the Holy Spirit, God the Son, and God the Father, they think that it's, there's only one person in three. There's three persons in one God, according to them. This Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They are actually three persons in one God. And if you're going to ask them, sir, ma'am, what do you mean by that? Do you mean that God is divided into three because they are all God? They cannot answer that. They cannot answer that with clear delineation. Actually, we are one with God. All of us children, or all of the spiritual our spirit souls in this material universe are also part of that oneness with God. We are all one with God, but we are different from God. The ocean is a very, very vast body of water, isn't it? Yeah? When you try to scoop the water of its ocean with your palm, the water on the palm is none different in quality with the water of the whole ocean, isn't it? I mean, when you taste it, it tastes salty, etc. Yeah, it is liquid, it's liquid. So, parehong quality niyan. But, can you say that water from your palm is equivalent or the same as the great ocean? In quantity, they're the same. Only a foolish man will agree to that. Everyone knows. Everyone with a half decent intelligence can say that is nonsense. They are one in quality but different in quantity. Yeah, and this, when Lord Chaitanya was here, he described this when he got invited to speak in a convention of impersonalist Brahmins. They wanted to hear Lord Chaitanya at that time became very, very well known already, because at the age of 12 he already had a school of philosophy. Yeah, and his name was Nimai Pandit, and Nimai Pandit was like no other. His intelligence is second to none. He can defeat great impersonalists, even if they're considered to be very powerful impersonalists. He is just a small boy, but he is able to defeat all of them. So that's why Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Prakasananda, they are the leaders of the impersonalists group at that time in India. They all became devotees of Lord Chaitanya, because that was the first time that they have ever heard of that philosophy. Can you say after me? Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. So Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. Can you say it again?
Achintya Veda Veda Tattva.
Yes. Simultaneously one and yet distinct. I mean, these impersonalists who met with Lord Chaitanya before, there are thousands of them. And great spiritual teachers who became so enamored by Lord Chaitanya and was so excited and was so dumbfounded to actually sit in front of Lord Chaitanya and learn from him the absolute truth. And they all became surrendered souls of Lord Chaitanya. They all became the disciples of Lord Chaitanya, actually. So Lord Chaitanya did not just come here for the most sinful of all sinners, but he also came down here for the impersonalists who try to push the idea that their God, that they are the absolute truth, that God and ourselves are one and the same. You know, they tried to propagate this, but they could not stand a chance speaking with a Vaishnava. Lord Chaitanya gave us the medicine, gave us the right tool or the right instrument, so that the impersonalists will accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But unfortunately, no, in India, there are still many impersonalists. Am I not right, Mr. Pravin?
Yeah, yes, sir.
There are so many impersonalists in India. Yeah, they all believe that we are one. They all believe that, you know, our relationship with God is this, you know, is we are at par. In other words, we're equal to God. So that's why they're saying, I am the avatar of Krishna. You know, some of them are saying this. They're actually trying to equate themselves with Krishna and the Supreme Personality of God, and not knowing that by doing so, they're being so degraded. It's not a sin. It's not offensive to actually accept that God is impersonal, that God is the Brahma Jyoti, the impersonal feature of Krishna. It's not offensive. But to say that God is impersonal and that the absolute truth is without any variegatedness, in other words, that God is not a person and that I can be equal to God, that is the greatest offense. That's why Srila Prabhupada said that whoever teaches the idea of impersonalism actually is very offensive, very dangerous actually. Why is it dangerous, Rhea?
Why is it dangerous to teach po yung impersonalism?
Yeah.
Because it will lead to it would lead to that the individual will think that he is God, and will not recognize will not recognize that there is really a supreme person, most powerful and above everyone.
Yeah, actually that is a fact. It is very dangerous because you will think that you are the supreme enjoyer, because God is a supreme enjoyer, right? If I think that I am God, it would lead me to being a super materialist. Super materialist talaga ang mangyayari, because you know, if I am the supreme enjoyer, I would like to enjoy everything and everyone in this world. Yeah? What will stop me from enjoying? Because I am God. So it will lead me to super materialism. And of course, because I am God and everybody is God, and we don't have any In other words, I am you and you are me and we are all just one. There is no variegatedness at all, etc. How can you enjoy relationships like that? How can there be any relationship when I say that you are me and I am you? And we're just one. Say, a relationship points to two persons, at least two persons, the beloved and the lover, like that. The friend and the other friend, ganyan. So there will be an exchange of relationships that's happening. With the impersonalism, there is no exchange. Kasi mag-isa ka lang. Okay, so I will stop here. Do you have any questions? Why don't we play a birthday song to Elinette? Elinette, happy birthday to you. Ayun, si Elinette, oh. Happy birthday. Can you get the guitar? Get the guitar. We'll sing a happy birthday song to Elinette.
Salamat po. Nakakatuwa naman kayo. Haribol.
Haribol birthday, Ma'am Elinette. Krishna Krishna.
Haribol.
Happy birthday, Ma'am
Ayun.
Elinette.
Thank you po.
Happy birthday, Mama Elinette.
Happy birthday.
Ayun, happy birthday. O, sige. We'll try to sing a happy birthday song to Elinette.
Birthday, ma'am. Ma'am Ninette.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Everybody, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. May Krishna bless you. May Krishna bless you. May Krishna, may Krishna, may Krishna bless you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol, Krishna.
Haribol. Salamat po, Ma'am Mina, Sir George. Haribol po. Thank you po.
Walang ano man. By the way, tomorrow is Saturday. I am traveling to Dumaguete early in the morning, so we won't have a Bhagavad Gita class tomorrow. If you can make announcement George, can you make an announcement? Yeah? Wala tayong Bhagavad Gita. And also, question and answer on Sunday. We won't have it because I will be there. I'm training some students that are there in Dumaguete. Okay? Maraming salamat, Rhea, for the room, and of course, our the family of George, Mina, Janner, and Kalkidas. Thank you for your assistance as always. Thank you so much.
Salamat, sir.
Amping sad ninyo diha. Okay. Si Isaac for the wonderful opening kirtan. Yeah. Sino pa ba? Maraming salamat as always, Isaac. And of course, all the readers and participants. Over to you, Rhea. Thank you.
Thank you very much din po, Sir Radha. Thank you, Sir Isaac and family, for the wonderful kirtan. And to all our readers, Sir Pravin, Ma'am Sharni, Haribol, happy birthday, Ma'am Elinette, and Sir George for co-hosting. Haribol, namaste, everyone. Thank you.
Haribol.
Haribol. Krishna,
Haribol.
Krishna. Krishna, good night, everyone. Haribol.
Haribol.